Run! Don't let it get you. Don't let it get you. We can shoot it. We can kill it. Don't let it get you. Okay, okay, I stopped it. I stopped it. Almost, kind of, ish. Keep killing. Keep trying. Keep running. It's dead.
Nice.
You're good. It's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got it. Hello everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day or night depending on your time zone. Today we're going to be going over the Mound, Omen of Cthulhu. Thank you to Nakon Games for reaching out to and granting me a copy to review this game. It was an honor and a pleasure to get to try the full release early on. The Mound Omen of Cthulhu is a very unique take on the genre of co-op survival, bringing in a lot of fun new elements to the horror sphere. From fresh, convincing lore-crafted monster models, a lesser-used 16th century setting, to the impressive sanity-driven mechanics, so convincing that you'll kill your friends, become convinced you're invisible while your friends yell in your face in panic, and become utterly lost when you see or hear things that no one else can, or swear there are literal bugs crossing your monitor and vision because of a wide array of layered effects and artful timing. The game is still in its early days, so expect some bugs and the odd strange balancing arrangement for some of them, both favorable and not, until the beta build is transferred over to main. But we'll talk about the pros and cons at the end of this video to better summarize options in the short form. That being said, here's my more thorough overview. In the game, you take on the role of Spanish conquistadors, with up to 6 to 7 playable character options. Yes, I know you're probably making that joke. The rest of them who must be unlocked with in-game missions, for up to 4 players, and additional characters who will become the members of your ship's own crew. You set up on a mission to find and secure treasures for yourselves, as well as for your home crown in Spain. You're also expected to keep your party well stocked on supplies and food to further bolster future missions. The ability to succeed in this voyage rests on your shoulders. You'll travel through a perilous jungle, full of many different traps and secrets, uncovering new goals to extend you beyond the ordinary treasures to those of legendary status on a place called the Mound, a dangerous zone few came back from untouched. The game takes place in a fantasy-enhanced version of the New World, more specifically set in the Valdivian forest of Chile, wherein you come across warnings you either heed or don't as you traverse deeper into the land, exploring ancient burial grounds, undead, otherworldly beings, gods, and collecting alien idols. Ooh, breastplate and gun. You hear about the local tribe, the Mapuche, indigenous to the region in the real world, and their experiences as it ties to your own throughout the story. Kill it fast. Right, say 3, 2, 1, go! It is made very clear through the narrative text that the Mapuche are separate to the horrifying Cthulhu-based entities, mutant humanoids, and cultists you come across, known collectively as the Knya. The latter is feared by the indigenous tribe, and, notably, treasures collected and territory explored in the game is considered to be the property of the Knya, seen as evil forces by all parties. The story itself unfolds with each collected logbook in addition to lore pages scattered across different camps and missions, with the option of full narration that is very well voice acted. The more you uncover and the deeper you go, the more satisfying it feels to look back and reflect on what you've survived. There are 18 unlockable sections of the map, each with their own smaller regions that are visibly connected among smaller groups. Each environment is handcrafted, with no procedural generations, a major win in a gaming world full of cheap assets and repetition. Your missions contain a set goal, unique rewards, weather conditions, and optional bonus actions that will vary based on the number of players and your previous games. You'll be given unique sets of gear, weapons, health items, and extras to go along with them. Note that in each case, there will be many instances where not every player will have the same items, be they protective gear or specific weapon types. It becomes important to survival then to delegate tasks and learn the strengths and weaknesses of your individual party to apply yourselves where you feel you are at your best and most effective. And if you're very lucky, hope to find something that you need or favor along the trail. Unpredictability is the name of the game. It's a fun manner to set up a unique style of cooperative teamwork and build up the confidence in areas that are less familiar. Oh! That thing!
I'm gonna help kill him.
Some will find the game too difficult, as there is a high skill ceiling to get used to, and occasionally missions the further you go that will be challenging even to the most seasoned gamers. Portals and Owlbat, I'm looking at you. Getting good at the game requires a lot of patience. The knowledge that try again actually can result in success if you apply good strategies, learn your maps under less pressured circumstances, and that sometimes taking the game at a slower pace is important. Okay, run. 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 Wait, are you okay? Loki, keep running. This way, this way, this. No, through the cave, through the cave, through the cave.
Okay. Through the
We can
cave.
do this.
through
We
the
can go
cave. Okay.
through the cave. It takes us onto the other side. Yeah, through the cave. Trust me. Remember how good I am with direction, even when I don't know anything? I am. Working together with your team or being cautious in solo player, where your only backup is a single NPC, is crucial. If this arrow does not hit, you shoot. Ready? Nice. Good work. Splitting your largest team into pairs can quickly spell loss of sanity, even if on the surface it seems like a reasonable plan to grab more and bolt. Rather than tackling every hard task or buying every new gadget before you build a decent chunk of coins and ration levels, starting small within your means can present the difference between successful hunts and frustration. There is a shift between the common instant gratification in modern games to one where you have to carefully earn your victory. Oh no! Creature's awake, we have to do this fast. Run, guys, run. While the game could improve from having a bit more difficulty balancing for dynamic groups of both veteran and new players, I think the overall mechanic is compelling enough for any who like a good challenge. A lot of fun for those looking to stretch their mental gaming skills in an action-packed PvE horror that keeps you on your toes and thinking in manners you may not expect. The Lovecraftian genre will always bring about a lot of hype, and this game does a great job of bringing in the lore from their original scripts while putting their own spin where it counts, by building upon the core themes and showing inspiration, but not becoming a flat-out copy. It tiptoes the lines too on how to ensure something of its game's particular mashups and in-game character social dynamics are carefully considered to the modern audience and aims to be respectful, despite context that can be historically understood. Though I have yet to complete the game, I've managed a good 30-hour chunk of gameplay overall between the different builds and experienced progressions that ultimately left me pleasantly surprised. It actually makes horse sounds. Ha! The Mound Omen of Cthulhu works closely between what makes something fun for a gamer and the survival genre in its most raw form. You're not just playing a game here, you're essentially taking on the life and voyage of your character. Randomized weapons or gear offered per mission, as well as their wear and tear. Think of it like a ship being far from home. It's not going to sail back to the homeland for new supplies tomorrow. It takes what it can from those it can find who came or failed before. Spending for better gear or losing it to dying, there is an element of realism that can be applied when you consider the perspective of the only supply coming home, coming back if you also make it there. A notable downside is that the player progression of the host impacts anyone who is newer to the game. While many may pick up the game mechanics quickly, new players may also feel intimidated if their first and/or only experience includes the higher difficulty settings of the game. While I saw no option to do so in the full version, I had a faint memory where I thought the option to scale up or down was previously a feature. Whether this was a reality or wishful thinking, I think it could be a nice mechanic to consider adding to increase the overall player options as a cooperative game, even if offered as a separate game mode. For replayability, especially in more casual settings, the rewards could be significantly reduced to offer counterbalance to having the ability to choose the difficulty to prevent unnatural level scaling during game progression. I think this would open the game up to a greater base of long-term players and fresh parties among the co-op horror genre. Another big change, notable from the early playtest versions of the game versus the current full release, is a shift in how tokens and gear are used. In the playtest, tokens spent were more or less returned to you as long as you experienced a full party wipe. While you would never quite hold on to the gear whether you lived or died, as it resets every run and is randomized for the positive or negative, it was previously maintained that your token amount would be refunded to players who had a full party wipe. This made dying on previous versions feel a little bit less punishing. You may not have progressed further with your crew, but at least you didn't slide further back. While the new variation to the system to include permanent loss of used tokens on party wipes plays into the style of survival and realism-focused world building within the game, to players who work hard to earn their tokens and experience a large amount of loss during early progression, it might feel defeating. I'd also love to see further balancing of the level progression dynamics, which involves cosmetic choices and purchasable upgrades. While many upgrades include important durability scaling, increases in damage, and other helpful conditions, those upgrades are one-time only. It is my personal opinion that a rewarding system could include those upgraded weapons successfully returned home by cycling occasionally into future missions. This way, players could still use the upgrade system in a pinch when they roll a run with less ideal parts, but not have that well-preserved gear, coins sent off entirely into the ether after every mission. It is my opinion that this could mesh well with the existing system and universe. On the note of progression, some of the knowledge that allows players to progress with more ease involves natural advancement of the game and picking up on its many quirks, important entity lore pages, and intricacies. Oh, that's a trap. Don't go that way. This way, this way. This may include learning that you can hunt flocks of birds before they have a chance to fully reach flight, or that time is not as linear as it initially appears, but rather progression becoming harder over time after the initial safety hourglass runs out. Alright, the forest is waking. It can also include the importance of waiting to introduce those exciting new giant entities until you and your party are ready to see them in potential future missions.
We got a deep one. We got a deep one.
And a horse! And a horse!
Oh, the horse.
Every choice you make afterwards becomes far more punishing depending on how much you anger the forest creatures, how close you are to your allies, how stealthy you choose to be overall, and properly weighing the costs that come with a typical loot goblin's mentality. And as a fellow loot goblin, I see you, I feel you, and I'm learning not to go after every shiny or mushroom too. Oh, those birds are so tempting. No, it's worth it. It's not worth it. It's a trap. It's a trap.
Yep.
It's a trap.
Yep. You're right. You're right.
I thought about it. I thought about it, okay? I did. But hey, guys, we made it back successfully. Look at us. The studio behind the Mound, Omen of Cthulhu is Ace Team, an independent development studio founded in 2002 by the three Bordeaux brothers and is based in Santiago, Chile. They're known for high creativity and distinctive artistic identity. The studio has earned recognition already from both critics and players alike through titles such as Clash, Artifacts of Chaos, and The Eternal Cylinder. Though they are a smaller studio, they're already making big waves in the level of ambition and commitment. My verdict? While the game could benefit from a bit more balancing and early bug fixes to strengthen its potential as a fan-favorite co-op horror, or the ability to secure more casual horror gamers' active rotations, it's overall a very fun, silly, and compelling experience to go through, no matter your group size. The higher your party's tolerance levels are for surviving past failures and keeping on, the more fun you will each have as a whole. There is a grind aspect, but enough variety and true story progression that largely keeps it from feeling like it can go old or stale. Even as maps become familiar to the best of cartographers, new twists in the game modes will have you questioning your sense of direction all over again. But due to the unforgiving nature of the game as a general aspect, less patient gamers may not enjoy the challenge and find it to be too intimidating, which may limit social dynamics and player-based options in some friend groups. If you enjoy Lovecraftian world building, psychological horror, active problem solving, and real-time strategy, you might like this game. And if you also love dynamic missions requiring varying degrees of stealth and mixed action of the melee and range kind, all in a PvE environment, while screaming for your life with your friends, you will love and appreciate this game. I was unable to personally test the crossplay features of the game. However, the game aims to be crossplay friendly and is working towards such compatibility being easier to connect through. Currently, the game is released at an introductory cost on Steam, Epic, and platforms PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X or S for those who want to give it a look. I highly recommend giving it a shot if it seems up your alley. Alright, let's recap and summarize my pros, mixed reviews, and cons. The pros. Great and fresh sanity mechanics, plenty to keep players actively engaged, focused and questioning everything or everyone. The game is challenging in a fun way and forces you to really care about your survival in an immersive manner. Not just a fantasy game, it's making you play your life like it and every choice you do or don't make actually matters. The ability to upgrade items or gear, in addition to cosmetics while leveling, feels very rewarding on a basic level. The variation in game mode types as you progress is exciting, although some mission types scale higher in difficulty than others. The difficulty scaling felt satisfying overall, both between shifts in group numbers or lack of, as well as earning more challenging missions. It feels good to learn better habits, map layouts, and earn your success. World building feels engaging. There are a ton of unique areas and highlights to uncover, even in locations well traversed. The treasure designs and collectible loot are well designed or animated, from tiny hopping frogs with sound cues to when you've caught all in the area, unique artifacts to the wide variety and shapes of trophies. It feels satisfying while not being overcluttered, especially in cases such as mushroom varieties becoming simplified. The option to turn off or adjust settings such as motion blur or head bobbing is a major plus for accessibility and gameplay optimization. Good setting options for audio adjustment. You can adjust audio settings individually from each player's voice, the music, ambience, sound effects, UI, and the entire master score. Crossplay between major platforms and systems, including PC platforms such as Steam and Epic, allows for a wider player base and flexibility. An active development team communicating well with your community bodes very well for patches, game health, and longevity if it's maintained. There's already an active beta version that has fixed numerous community concerns and wishes as of launch, so this bodes very well for the future of the game in general. The mixed side of things. Some early optimization issues and bugs may be a problem, but are not experienced by all. Different PC builds will vary. While some players may experience concerns over visual frame rates, among the large group I tested and reviewed with, each had an overall smooth gameplay experience, even on cards as old as the 2060. An NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060 12th Gen Intel i7-12700KF with 32 RAM can run ultra graphics for everything, but I recommend turning off VSync, motion blur, and head bobbing for most for comfort and playability. Audio glitches may occur. My team experienced a collective audio bug where there were robotic vocals. The issue is inconsistent and also fixed itself while actively playing. When the audio works though, the positional audio is wonderfully immersive. If playing prior to the patches in the main build, as the audio bugs are already fixed within the current beta version, keep a backup social system around. Token and gear system as is may feel too punishing for complete party wipes. Plays into the survival and realism focused world building, but experiencing a large amount of loss during early progression or if you're stuck scaling in legendary mission points might feel defeating for some players. Inventory freezing can be a challenge in the current main build. Items cannot be moved between slots in the player's tool belt, which may be inconvenient. There's also rare occasions of inventory freezing wherein the item or multiple slots will become locked via game bugs. You won't be able to place your items in the wagon without errors in these instances. However, in multiplayer modes, that can be remedied by dropping the item on the ground using C and having a friend place it in the wagon for you. Your inventory will be fully accessible afterwards. Please note, there are fixes and changes to these issues in beta. Personal inventory is and will eventually be fully customizable and flexible, a fantastic update, and no further inventory glitches are expected based on the current beta branch's performance. Cons and bugs. Missions are locked to the difficulty of the host. May be a concern for having more dynamic groups of new and veteran players due to the high skill ceiling. The game presently crashes for those trying to switch their aspect ratio from the native 1080. Native aspect, however, seems stable for most players. Experienced errors when key binding that would not remain on their rebind between game resets, especially for push-to-talk toggles. The bug is expected to be patched fairly early, as they already have fixes in the beta version, but it's something to keep in mind to avoid confusion. Occasional overlapping enemy animations can quickly overwhelm and kill a player. It is not common, but can happen near the endgame and feel unfair in clutch gaming moments. During certain genuine timed missions, later unlockable, there may be cutscene events that immobilize players and further punish them during an active escape due to the environmental conditions that continue to affect whether the player is in control of their game or not. It has been less favorable for many players as a mission type for this potential reoccurrence and reason. If you decide to play on the beta build, there may be genuine lag spikes, where the whole game will freeze temporarily. Thus far, this has not been a deadly problem, but keep in mind, a beta is often a less stable build even if it comes with earlier patch benefits. Some players, however, may enjoy the fixes and find it to be worth the risk. Overall, the Mound Omen of Cthulhu is a fantastic game. Looking forward to seeing what the game holds next with further patching and progression. I have a lot of faith in this team and highly anticipate its future. A big thanks again to the team at Nakon Games for sending me a copy to review. I very much enjoyed it and I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in store next. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave it a like and comment. I do respond to the majority of them, and I will catch you guys in the next video.